There's not really such a thing as a perfect person or a perfect pair of people, but if there were, I know that Mr. Lowery T. Martin and his wife, Katherine Lewis Martin, would be high in the running for a perfect pair. These two people impacted the world around them in many ways, and all of them good. I've never heard anything but praise for both Mr. Lowery T. and Miss Katherine Martin. You can look at the example they gave us in their work, in their life, in their community, in their service, in all that they did and all that they are. They were two truly special people. All of us are created by God and all of us are loved by God. Some of us flourish in that love more so than others, and certainly that was true of this pair. Mr. Lowery T., born in 1918 and lived on the family property in the Smithdale area alongside Highway 98. Most everybody from that part of the world knew of them and know the area where they lived, but he was born and raised and lived and died on the property that belonged to his family, where he farmed and ranched and hunted and raised his two children, Marilyn and Lynn. That those two are a great example of the wonderful nature of their parents, because they're both truly special people and they reflect the work of their parents and the character of their parents in every way that can be observed. Mr. Lowery T. Probably wouldn't claim this as his greatest accomplishment, but it's a pretty amazing one to have a post office built in Smithdale, Mississippi. He started on it many years ago, and during his retirement years, it came to fruition after he had retired. Uh, Smithdale is a wonderful community, and it's loved by all the people there. But it's pretty unusual to have a United States post office in a place that small. But it serves a great area and it serves a good purpose. Mr. Lowery T. and Katherine worked together the whole time that Lowery T. was the postmaster. She was the clerk. So what a wonderful blessing to have these two serving the community of Smithdale and the greater Smithdale area. One of the things that I always knew about Mr. Lowery T. was his love for hunting and his love for hunting dogs. He was telling me one time about a hybrid coon hunting dog that he got, I believe, from Illinois, somewhere up north, and he he was a little disappointed in some of the activities of the dog, and we had sort of a lamentable laugh about it together. I used to hunt with him some at a hunting club across the old river from Vicksburg. I believe that's Davis Island. It was called Sam Newman Hunting Club. It was really a wonderful place and a place that he enjoyed going. Miss Katherine had the most amazing coping skills of anybody I've ever known. And I'm going to give you an example from her life. And I'm going to guess that she was in the neighborhood of 80 years old at the time of these events I'm about to describe to you. She was friends with a cousin of mine who was also my first grade teacher, Miss Alice Dickerson. And it was a birthday party for Miss Alice, and I think it was her 80th birthday, but I'm not sure of that. And many of us were gathered there for that party. And at the time, Highway 84 was 4-lane but the 4 lane had not been completed yet. And Katherine was coming there to the party, and we were standing outside, and she got in a really bad accident, hit head on, and her car was kind of up on its side, on the passenger side, right in front of Miss Dickerson's house. And we went running out there, and as I approached, I could hear her speaking to someone that had gotten there ahead of me, saying, "I miss Lowery T. Martin." She was proper in every circumstance. When I got up there and stuck my head over where I could see down into the car, she was laying basically upside down with her head uh, facing upwards, with her back on the floorboard on the passenger side, with her head down and her feet up, and she was bleeding a pretty good bit from around her head. Thank goodness her injuries weren't life threatening. And when I looked over in there, she said, "Well, hello, Hollis, how are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, me." She said, "Lowry T is going to be so disgruntled with me," or whatever. I don't remember her exact word. He told me to be careful about this highway work that they're doing, and I just got confused about the lanes. And she was as calm as a cucumber. Uh, I believe it was Lynn that told me that she kind of got that through her family as being a very calm person and able to cope in every circumstance, that whatever was going on, she was good in it, and she was able to handle it. And those were footsteps she was walking in that her mother had walked before her, Julia Walker Lewis. So these two had a great impact on all that knew them, and many that didn't know them, who were affected by their work and their presence. And the truth is, we can each say that we're better people for having known them. And I would go even further and say, even if you didn't know them, this world is a better place because they lived. And they lived out their faith, not in a showy or flashy way, quietly doing the things that were in front of them day by day, trusting God and knowing that it is well with their soul as they rested and trusted in God. In the last year or so of Miss Catherine's life, I was able to visit with her a number of times at her home, and I think I was supposed to be there to be an encouragement to her, but the truth was she ministered to me far more than I could have done to her. She was a joy to be with, and at that time I was able to have my one of my grandchildren, my granddaughter Kylie, with me, and she loved it, and Miss Catherine loved having her. We thank God for Mr. Lowry T. Martin and Catherine Lewis Martin.